I like what Stephanie White had to say after the Fever's win over the Dream. It sort of was in line with what I was talking about in the way that Caitlin Clark was able to make things happen without getting her shot to drop and in the midst of fighting through and returning from injury. I mean, that's what I said, right? Like those were the comments that I shared. And obviously the Fever head coach shares the same sentiment or basic sentiment, because she was asked after the win. She talked about the team finding the connectivity and all that and rising to the challenge. And she continued to harp on ball movement. That is a thing for her. She said, I think 77% assist rate or something like that in the game, and moving it side to side. That is, she said, getting everybody involved is a consistent mantra for Stephanie White, and is obviously a basketball philosophical thing for her, and clearly not. She's not the only coach. That's a general, kind of accepted principle in basketball. It's just, Caitlin Clark gets everybody involved, but at the same time, when she has it, she has the ball all the time. So it's how you figure that dynamic out perfectly. But Stephanie White also has Caitlin Clark's back. And you saw that after the game when she was asked about the shooting slump that Clark is in, or the shooting struggles that Clark is having. And here's what she had to say.
When Caitlin doesn't have her shot going, she seems to always consistently find a way to create for others and make plays. What are the conversations like in the huddle when you're trying to kind of keep her back from like affecting other aspects of her game?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing, and I don't mean, it doesn't mean anything that I'm not worried about Caitlin's shot, but I'm not worried about Caitlin's shot. Like, she's recovering from injury. She plays heavy, hard minutes. Every defensive assignment, every defensive scout, she's the top of the scouting report. So her shot quality that she's getting has not been great. And we're just so used to seeing her make tough shots. And to be able to do that while she's recovering from injury is gonna be more difficult. That's part of the reason that we want to try to make her life easier and get her some easier looks. And it's going to continue to be hard because every defensive game plan is to not allow those. So for her to stay patient, I thought she did a really good job of attacking the rim, not just settling for tough, long jumpers. She always does a really good job of finding her teammates. And then we just have to help, navigate her own frustration, because she's a perfectionist, as most elite players are, and she needs to be able to give herself grace in those moments. But every shot she shoots looks like it's going into me.
So, obviously that's from Scott Agness' YouTube channel. Let me share his channel in the description below. But that is the, reason I said exactly what I said. Stephanie White and I are simpatico in this regard, where Caitlin Clark attacking the rim, I think, was a huge difference in this game. And then, yeah, of course, her shooting struggles are related to the injury struggles and the shot difficulty diet that she has. Like, when you're shooting for 35 feet away all the time and you got bad wheels and you're not assisted on those shots and the defense is picking you up the whole way, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. Now, look, Clark can't continue to shoot tour dates the rest of the year. Like, she's going to have to hit that for the Fever to hit full gear and for her to be at her most dangerous. But there is a difference between shooting poorly and playing poorly. And I think Caitlin Clark played very well in that game. And I could see her finding her rhythm. I could see her finding the fun again, the excitement again. And that is exciting when you see Caitlin Clark start to, activate and find AB with the brilliant pass and pump her fist and rev up the crowd, all those things that you're used to seeing from Caitlin Clark. And I believe she maybe started to trust her body a little bit more. We'll see. It's an arduous schedule coming up. I don't know if she's ever going to be 100% healthy this season, given the way it started. It really goes back to the Iowa game for me. Remember that she sat out that preseason game the day before, but then it was that game in Iowa. And I don't know, you would need an extended period of time to be at 100%. And the Fever have that rough schedule stretch coming up. But regardless, it looked like it was coming in that second half, which was great to see, which makes the Fever more fun. Obviously, the way Caitlin Clark plays is fun to watch, exciting, and you could see that exciting energy from her teammates too. I mean, Kelsey Mitchell is exciting when she's got it cooking. Sophie Cunningham finally got it going. She made a huge difference in the game, and this is what Sophie said afterwards, kind of in that same vein about fun and finding the right vibes. I mean, Caitlin Clark said she picked the All-Star team off vibes, right? You want the Fever to have the right vibes.
I just love it. I really do think this is a really unique and special team. In the locker room, we really do love each other. Like we love spending time together. Our practices, I'm not going to lie, are long, and sometimes we have to hold hands and be like, "Hey, we're going to get through it." But this is a team that I have never felt like this in the W. And I've been in it for 7 years. I know you've been in it for 8, and so this is a special group that we have. And so when we can just go out there and have fun and be competitors and feed off of each other, it's just easy. And when people are smiling, like you don't ever see Kels really get like that. But when we see her get like that, we're like, oh, yeah, like we're in it. You know what I mean? And when other teams see that, it's game over. And
when other teams see that, it's game over. Yeah. And look, I mean, when the Fever are firing on all cylinders, we've seen that potential. I mean, you saw it when Caitlin Clark was out with them able to win the Commissioner's Cup over the Lynx. But when Caitlin Clark is in and they reach their final form, when they're able to do defensively, and by the way, shouts to Clark. She played really well defensively in the second half against Jordan, Canada. Again, shouts to Sophie Cunningham for shooting herself out of that slump. 10 rebounds, by the way. 10 boards. I mean, Kelsey Mitchell sometimes is the unsung hero because she's putting up 25 and sits there. She's just kind of low key in the way, she handles the post game pressers and all that stuff. That's just part of her personality, but nothing about her game is low key. And then AB, 19 points, 6 boards, 8 assists. I mean, that is a very dangerous group of players. And there's been questions about, I guess, the chemistry and all the rest of that. But when you hear Sophie Cunningham express it in that way, it does make you feel good, right? It does make you feel optimistic. And that's it's almost the Fever season. It's like, you're over here, you're over here, you're over here, you're over here. But they haven't had any stability. And in order to build consistency, you need some degree of stability. So let's see how they do if they're able to be whole for a while there, because that hasn't been the case all season long. There's the unfortunate thing is they don't have an all-star break. They have an all-star weekend. It is not an all-star break. you go do all the stuff and then you play again Tuesday after playing the Wednesday before. It is definitely not an all-star break, but it feels like after that win over the Dream, they could breathe a little bit. Stephanie White's not worried about Caitlin Clark's shooting slump, and Sophie Cunningham talks about how unique the group is and how much fun they can have together, and when it's game over for the opponents. But they do have the ability to get to that game over stage, and I think that's what brings reason to continue to believe in the Fever season being what people thought it would be before it started, even if it didn't start that way.